Hi, we're back. It's been a while. I even kind of forgot where we were. We were on Joseph for sure. I think we're on page 40, where Joseph had asked his brothers to bring Jacob, his father, down to Egypt, and they are all going to move to Egypt. So after he tells them to bring his father, Joseph threw his arms around his brother Benjamin and wept, and Benjamin embraced him. I think we might have read this part. And he kissed all his brothers and wept over them, and afterward his brothers talked with him, with Joseph. I think that's where we were. So let's pick up. So they went up out of Egypt and came to their father Jacob in the land of Canaan. They told him, Joseph is still alive. In fact, he is ruler of all Egypt. And Jacob was stunned. He did not believe them. But when they told him everything Joseph had said to them, and when he saw the carts Joseph had sent to carry him back, the spirit of their father Jacob revived, and Israel said, I'm convinced my son Joseph is still alive. I will go and see him before I die. Yes.
He's being called Israel. He's acting in the Lord.
That's right. He is being called Israel. So Israel set out with all that was his, and when he reached Beersheba, he offered sacrifices to God of his father Isaac. And God spoke to Israel in a vision at night and said, Jacob, Jacob. Here I am, he replied. Who else replies? Here I am. Samuel says that. And I want to say Moses might also, but I'm not certain on that.
I think he did when during the burning bush he said, here I am.
I think you're right. I am God, the God of your father. Do not be afraid to go down to Egypt, for I will make you into a great nation there. I will go down to Egypt with you. Do we go places where God doesn't go with us? No. And I will surely bring you back again, and Joseph's own hand will close your eyes. Do you know what that means? Joseph's own hand will close your eyes?
No.
It means when he dies, Joseph will be right there to cover his eyes, and he'll be right there with him. Then Jacob left Beersheba, and Israel's son, so it went right from Jacob to Israel. And Israel's sons took their father Jacob and their children and their wives in the carts that Pharaoh had sent to transport him. Now Jacob sent Judah ahead of him to Joseph to get directions to Goshen. When they arrived in the region of Goshen, Joseph had his chariot made ready and went to Goshen to meet his father Israel. As soon as Joseph appeared before him, he threw his arms around his father and wept for a long time, because he hadn't seen his dad in a really long time, and his dad had thought he was passed away. Israel said to Joseph, Now I am ready to die, since I have seen for myself that you are still alive. So Joseph settled his father and his brothers in Egypt and gave them property in the best part of the land, the district of Ramses, as Pharaoh directed. Jacob lived in Egypt 17 years. It doesn't say, I was waiting for it to say how many people, but there were 70 people that came up with Jacob when they came to Egypt. 70 people came. And that's what started the nation of Israel. They didn't start calling themselves the Israelites until after they came into Egypt. And that's important because Israel, the nation, was born in Egypt. They were born, and Egypt gives us a picture of the what? The flesh. Egypt gives us a picture of the world, or the flesh. And so Israel was born in the flesh, just like we're all born in the flesh. And then we become slaves. Israel became slaves in Egypt, just like we find out once we're born that we are a slave to this thing called sin in the flesh. And it's God who must bring us out. And it's God who brings Israel out of Egypt. Okay, so Jacob lived in Egypt 17 years, and the years of his life were 147. When the time drew near for Israel to die, he called for his son Joseph and said to him, If I have found favor in your eyes, put your hand under my thigh and promise that you will show me kindness and faithfulness. I don't know all the specifics, but the putting the hand under the thigh is some type of like solemn symbol of a solemn oath. Do not bury me in Egypt, but when I rest with my fathers, carry me out of Egypt and bury me where they are buried. Remember, God had told Jacob that he would bring him back out of Egypt, that he wouldn't stay there.
Who's saying this? Yes, or Jacob?
Jacob is telling this to Joseph because he's about to die, and he's saying, don't leave me here after I pass away. Take me and bury me with my fathers, Abraham and Isaac.
You know, Joseph, when he died, they carried him when they were traveling in the desert for those 40 years. They carried him in his body. And
Yes.
I think they buried him in Canaan when they finally reached the promised land.
We will get to that part, yes. But they did carry him all that time.
That must
Joseph.
have been hard, holding a dead body.
Okay, let's not
Sorry.
go there. I will do as you say, he said. Swear to me, he said. And Joseph swore to him, and Israel worshipped as he leaned on the top of his staff. Then Israel said to Joseph, I'm about to die, but God will be with you and take you back to the land of your fathers. Jacob died at the ripe age of 147 years. That's pretty old. Before the last day, he gathered his sons to bless them, to pronounce their future and give them ongoing responsibilities. Not all the sons got what they wanted. Reuben, he didn't give Reuben a blessing because Reuben had loved one of, let me see, I think it was Jacob's, one of the women that Jacob was loving as a wife, who wasn't his wife. It was like they called his concubine. Then Reuben went and loved her as a wife too. And Jacob then did not give him the blessing because he had done evil.
Even though Jacob himself was also
Even though Jacob had done evil too.
And Reuben was actually pretty much the nicest of all the brothers to Joseph. He was the one who had said, he was the one who had convinced them not to kill Joseph.
That's true. Reuben had saved Joseph's life. That's true. Although he could have just went and told his father. You know what I'm saying? He could have been like, hey, Dad, they're being hateful to Joseph.
They're about to kill him. Help.
But he didn't do that. Jacob's last words foretold that some of his sons and their descendants would experience success and other hard times. Jacob adopted Joseph's two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, as his own. This allowed Jacob to give Joseph a double inheritance. This is the double portion, as one whose character had earned his trust and confidence. So, when they formed the 12 tribes of Israel, the 12 tribes includes the tribe of Manasseh and the tribe of Ephraim, or Ephraim. I don't know how, I never know how to say that. Ephraim. I say Ephraim. How do you say it?
Ephraim?
How does Miss Jolie say it?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Since she was the one who mentioned that it was sort of like 13 tribes. I mean, well, I don't know. I think she said it's something like Ephraim. I would prefer to say it Ephraim too.
How many brothers did Joseph have?
He had 12 brothers.
Did he have 12 brothers, or were there 12 brothers, including him?
I think it was 12 brothers, including him.
I'll have to look back. But yeah, Joseph doesn't have a tribe. It ends up being split into the tribe of Manasseh and Ephraim into two tribes. And Joseph gives us a picture of who?
God.
Close. Jesus. It's basically like Joseph went down into the pit of hell, of slavery and prison. That's my husband, if you hear that. Ooh,
This will now be posted on YouTube.
Stop. So it was like Joseph went down into death because they thought he had died, and then he came back alive again. But he really he didn't come back alive, but in their perception, and that's what saved them. The same for us, and that's what saved us, is Jesus passing through death, or conquering death. Okay, so we're gonna stop there. We actually kind of did a lot today. We're on page 41. I was trying to get to the end of Joseph, but I just couldn't make it. We just needed to stop there. All right, bye for now.